apparently the mic wants to behave because it's a cheap mic and it does like this weird stuff and not important. Also, I hate how I look without circle lenses, and that's a problem. But I'm not wearing them this video because I'm gonna try to, no one cares. So before I get started with my actual intro and anything like that, I just want to say that if it's not obvious by the everything about me, I have really bad ADHD, and so in order for me to sit here for an extended period of time and like talk and tell a story, first of all, I have some notes jotted down on the monitor in front of me, so at any point if it looks like I'm just reading from a teleprompter, like I have to do that in order to organize my thoughts, otherwise I'll get sidetracked with side stories and we'll be here all fucking day. I also have a little squishy I might have to play with a little bit while I'm sitting here because it's hard for me to like sit for a long time and not do anything with my hands. You get it. Also, I have my emotional support alpaca, but he's gonna stay over there because he likes to get an attitude and talk shit and interrupt me all the time, so we're gonna put him over there. But we'll put him in the video a little bit, because he's cute. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the shit show. I'm your host. 3 raccoons in an overcoat that pretends to be a girl that pretends to be a cat. I've been on this channel for a year now, or this channel as we know it for a year. And I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers, which is crazy. Like, could you imagine like 1,000 people being like, oh hell yeah, this is what I want to see, this is what I want to spend my time on? Like, that's crazy, right? And a lot of people, when they start a channel, they do like some kind of formal introduction, like, hey guys, this is me, this is what I'm gonna be doing on this channel, hope you guys hit that subscribe button. And then I'm just over here like, here's a fucking video, subscribe if you want. I can't force you to do anything. Like, who cares? If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. We'll move on. That's not to say I'm not grateful, because obviously I'm fucking over the moon that like anybody is here for any reason. Like, that's insane, right? Because who the fuck am I? I'm nobody. But I used to be somebody for a very small period of my life, and so that's something I want to go over today. So it's not really going to be giving you like tips and how I became an influencer. I'm just going to tell you like the story of, I don't know, starting from when I was younger. I'm not going to give you my whole life story or anything, but I'm going to give you a small snippet of how I started and how I am here today. So that's what today is going to be. And I feel like every YouTuber has like this backstory of like, when I was a kid, I was always making videos with my friends and I just knew YouTube is what I wanted to do, because like ditto, right? But it makes sense because that's why any of us are on this platform. Obviously we all had the same interest in making videos and having fun and producing content, so I'm no different. But I never had a formal introduction on this channel, so I thought I'd do that. So I've had this channel, like I said, for a little over a year now, and we've had a lot of laughs here on the Cokeandredrum variety channel, but today is going to be just a little bit more serious.
But Redrum, what's up with the title? You have like 900 subscribers. That's hardly an influencer.
See, I knew you would do this. Like, can you give me 1 second? This is my channel. But, you know, I see where you're coming from, and I'm hoping you'll allow me to elaborate.
Yeah, okay, but is this gonna take a while? I have things to do.
Almost definitely. So grab a snack, grab a drink, grab your favorite pair of sweatpants back from your little sister, because despite what she said, yes, she does have them in her room, and she wore them to school yesterday. So let's talk, because I feel like we need to talk. First and foremost, allow me, for the first time ever on this channel, to formally introduce myself. This is what you've all been waiting for, right? I know I've poked fun at it before. It was my plan to kind of stay like anonymous on the internet a little bit, like be sort of an enigma, because first of all, I don't even feel like I'm a real person. Like, I'm so dissociative, I don't even feel like I actually exist. But I do, and I have a name. So, hi, nice to meet you. My name is Casey. Please do not try to refer to me as so in the comments, because my name is not spelled any possible way you think it is. All jokes aside, I never came out and had that introductory video because I really honestly felt like nobody gives a shit, right? Like, you don't care who I am. YouTube's a search engine. You're just looking for a video on how to do like scene hair or how to do like eye enlarging makeup. Like you don't care about me, right? But that's such a toxic mindset to be in. Like, who's to say that somebody doesn't care about me? Like, maybe you do care about me, and that's why you're watching this video after the intro. After I already told you what this video is, you're still here watching it. So, obviously you care at least a little bit. So, yeah, I'm Casey. I turned 25 this past September of 2020. I'll be 26 this year. I dropped out of college, not just because I have crippling ADHD that doesn't allow me to complete any singular task unless it's something I have hyperfixation on, but because all my life, as long as I can remember, I've wanted to like be somebody, you know, like just be somebody, and not in the way that like, oh, I absolutely have to get famous. Like, I was born to be famous. It's not like that at all, right? To me, it's different, and it's, like, a lot deeper than that. We're gonna get hella fucking emotional, and I may cry, because I'm, like, so dead ass right now. So, I've always liked the idea of helping people, in a way. Of course, as a kid, I had those phases like, oh, maybe I'll be a doctor, maybe I'll be a veterinarian. For a brief period of my time, I thought I was going to be a lawyer just because my mom's in the legal field, and so that's what I grew up around. I used to go to work with her all the time, and so I thought that's the path I was set on, which thank God I didn't, because I would not do well in law school. I am not focused or smart enough. But as I got older, especially after I got diagnosed with PTSD 10 years ago when I was 15, I've learned a lot about myself and came to realize that helping people isn't always about the physical, you know? And of course, like, once I got closer to college, I considered things like psychology. And like, I was going to be a teacher. My major in college was literature, so there's things you do with that. I'm going to be like a teacher or on a news station or editing people's papers, like something like that, right? Very helping up here, you know what I mean? And I have one very clear memory that's always stuck with me, which is interesting considering my brain is literally wired to repress everything. Sorry, I have to make horribly uncomfortable jokes or else I'll die. Anyways, I remember being about 12 or 13, right? And I'm with my mom and we're outside walking the dogs. You know, she was always talking about work and this and that, and I remember looking at her and she just always talked like so passionately about her job, right? Like, she was born to do this. There was not a doubt in her mind that this is what she was meant for. And I'm sitting there and I'm starting to get like really overwhelmed because the more I thought about it, having an existential crisis only at the age of 13, but I'm sitting there thinking about it and I'm like, what's my thing? You know, like, I don't like any of this. I had nothing like that. Like, I had no passion for like one specific realistic career path like a lot of people do, especially at that young age. You may change your mind later on, but usually when you're young, you have like that one thing, you know? And I hadn't really done anything with like hair or makeup when I was 13. Like, natural hair, I wore like maybe a little bit of eyeliner that I like snuck and put on when I was at school and washed off before I came home. And, you know, wigs weren't really a thing then. I had none of this going on to like have on backup. So I was always around like the legal field and stuff. There was nothing that just really rustled my jimmies the way I needed it to. And I remember I looked at Mom and I was asking her more about how she decided to go with what she did, you know? And she's talking about it, and then I'm like, you know, when I grow up, I don't want to be anything. Like, I don't. And of course, at first she did get mad, and just because imagine you have like this bright, young, moldable 13-year-old girl that you thought had her shit together a little bit and always had these big aspirations to be a lawyer, and then all of a sudden she's just like, nope, fuck that, not doing it. Like, you would probably panic as a parent, right? Like, are you okay? So that's probably why she got mad, you know? And she was like, well, I thought you wanted to do this. What about this? And I'm like, no. No sir, no thanks, not me, no way. And of course, some time goes on, she realizes, you know, I'm young, I'm probably just like in a pissy teenager mood. So she's like, oh, you're young, you'll change your mind, like, don't worry about it. And, you know, the same reaction I get from people now when I tell them I'm not having kids. Yeah, so I know my mom, because the context seems odd, like she was mad at me, but I know my mom, and in that moment she was just concerned, you know? Parents mean well. They'll never fully understand you because you're an individual, but most of the time they mean well. So we got back home, and I thought about how that conversation went, thought a lot about it, and I stood by what I said, but deep down, I knew there was something I really, really wanted, and I knew that it was completely unrealistic, right? Because I had no way to achieve that. And I blame, like, Nickelodeon and the Disney Channel, because they always had that show about a small town girl that made it and became somebody. But I was no one. I had nothing. I lived nowhere. But I couldn't help but think, like, what if I was? What if I was someone? What if I had something? You know, what if I went somewhere, you know? Something that I could, like, get my feelings out there with, like, some sort of platform. I mean, who knows? I was young. Anything could happen, right? And, you know, I've always loved to sing. I've always been a very, like, artsy, fartsy person. I love to sing. I love to write. I love to paint, craft, do makeup, all those things. Now, I am not the best at any and all of the above, but I like to do it, right? That's all I really enjoy doing. I've always been a creator. I love to create. So I sat there in my bedroom thinking about this conversation with my mother, and then I thought back to a conversation we had before things got a little heated, you know, before we went into that existential crisis. And that was just, what do you want for Yule this year? For those of you who don't know, Yule is pagan Christmas, essentially. And so I got my little piece of paper, I got my pen, and I started writing. Usually I would write down several things, and then it's not like we were, like, rich or anything, so I'd write down, like, my several big gifts that I want, and then usually I got at least one of those, which is entirely fair. So I wrote, like, my first cell phone, which I did get that year, awesome. Nintendo DS. And then the last thing I wrote on there was a digital camera. You see where this is going. So like I said, I was 13 at that time, and now I think YouTube was rolled out to the public, I believe in 2005. The last time I looked it up, I think it was 2005. Which kind of makes sense on my timeline. So I was about 10 years old at the time YouTube got released, so I wasn't really on it until, like, my earliest memories browsing YouTube were probably between 2006, 2007. Yeah, I think, because I got my first MySpace when I was 11 years old. I was the end of 5th grade, going to 6th grade. I turned 12 when I hit 6th grade, because my birthday's in September. No one cares. Yeah, so that's when I started using the internet. That's when I started getting on YouTube and stuff. And of course, YouTube was a completely different place back in that time. Like, you could post literally whatever you wanted. There were no rules, there were no regulations. We all used whatever music we wanted to use, like, with absolutely no regard to, like, copyright infringement. We had no concept of that. So you could, if you wanted to put whoever's song in your video, you could do it, and there was no consequences, because nobody cared, right? And YouTube wasn't really a big enough platform at the time. It was brand new. There were no ads. That was never thought of. Like, there was no surefire way to, like, make money off of YouTube. And I was really into, like, Ray William Johnson and Live Lava Live. Shane Dawson, we're not going to talk about it. There wasn't a lot of options back then. Oh, and don't forget, hey, it's Fred! Love that man. Hope he's doing well. And I'm sitting there, and I'm staring at the screen, just in awe, because I'm like, this is it. This is what I want. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I want this. And then back then, being internet famous was not the status symbol that it is now, right? Like, you literally would get made fun of for being internet famous, because it wasn't like its own thing. You got nothing from it except what the kids would refer to as clout these days. You know what I mean? Like, there was no money involved. Most people that were using YouTube as a platform, your biggest hope is that somebody would see it and you would get, like, a TV show out of it, or you would get on TV some way. That was the goal. Some people may have been lucky enough, like Fred or Shane Dawson, to get some merch into Hot Topic, but really there was nothing besides that, you know? Like I said, no ads. So there was no, like, way to, like, build up an empire off of YouTube and get, like, brand deals and things like that. It was very seldom that things like that happened. So of course I wasn't thinking about that, you know, as a kid. Like, I just wanted to do this thing that I would get absolutely nothing out of, right? All I knew was, like, how can I pull this off and turn it into something realistic, right? Again, because, like, being, like, famous wasn't a realistic goal. It's just, how can I take this and turn it somehow into a respectable career that my parents will, like, accept? So, as I'm sitting here watching these goofy videos with this kid with a really high-pitched voice, he's making me laugh, right? He's making me laugh so freaking hard. And I'm like, that's it. That's what I want to do. I want to make people laugh. I want to dress up in costumes and do these dumb little skits. And so those were my earliest memories of, like, true passion and inspiration, you know? And eventually, at the age of 13, I got my very first digital camera. It was a Nikon Coolpix. Ashton Kutcher was in the commercial. It was very trendy. It was like what all the MySpace girls wanted that year. And I got it. And so from then, I could make my videos. So I started off making dumb little skits with, like, the neighborhood kids. I had one friend at the time who wasn't the best friend, but she was all I had. And she, you know, was into it for a while, thought she was going to make videos with me. That never happened, thank God. But I never posted anything what I did to YouTube, just because even though I was young, I knew that I was young, and it probably wasn't a good idea, you know? Not to mention, I was nervous. The internet was fucking ruthless back then. Like, you guys think, like, it's bad now? You would not have survived the early 2000s through, like, the early 2010s. So yeah, I never posted anything. I also didn't personally have internet access at my house, as most people didn't back in the day. Like, you maybe knew one person that had, like, a computer at their house. I usually only got on the internet when I went to stay with my godmother on weekends and stuff, so that was the only time I got there. So fast forward a couple years, and I still love making videos. I was 15 years old, and I moved in with my godmother. Not going to go into detail, but yeah, I moved in with my godmother. And I got a job under the table working for her parents. They had, like, this janitorial company. So I went with them and, like, cleaned doctors' offices and stuff. $100 a month, you know, which is nice when you're a teenager, even though I got seriously ripped off. But yeah, so I worked for them, and whatever money I didn't spend on, like, you know, clothes and hair dye and certain vices I should not have been participating in at that age, I saved up, and I got my I had a little 10-inch Asus laptop, super tiny, and I got my first really good video camera, which I have right here. This is a Sony Bloggie. Look how dirty it is. She is 10 years old at this time. And this was, like, the shit. Now, my best friend Megan had one that, like, actually flipped upwards and, like, you can move it to, like, a selfie position. So hers was way cooler. Mine was, like, the cheapest one they had, because, like, obviously I was 15, I didn't have money to blow. But yeah, if anybody remembers these were, like, the shit. I checked on it to see if there was any videos. There was a couple that I took when I was in high school, like, in theater class, like, us doing little skits and stuff, little plays that we wrote. But everything else that was on it, I guess, is gone now, which sucks, because I really thought I had some on there still that I'd love to see, but whatever. Yeah, I have the camera, and so I hang on to it for sentimental purposes. So I have that. I got my laptop, and my very first channel, I'll put up the little logo I designed in paint. This was, like, my thing. Okay, my very first channel, Rar Rhiannon Sketch, was born. So Rhiannon is my middle name. I did sketches and skits, so that's where that comes from, and rar, because I was a sing kid, you know? But I was having the time of my life. I wrote, like, all these scripts, and, like, would have my sister, my brother, and our friends, like, act them out, and, like, I would direct it, and a lot of fun stuff. And I did pretty well with it, you know? I got, like, 100 subscribers, which is impressive at that time, because one, it's not like we had, like, high quality productions back then. It was all very potato cam, jump cuts, similar to what I do now. And not to mention, at the time, the largest channels had, like, 100K, you know, so 100 was, like, a big number. YouTube was still still a baby, you know? So time went by, and we're going to go into a story within a story, but this is a story that I told on this channel before, like this specific channel, but it's long since deleted. But what happened was, I used to have this segment that called Q&A Saturday. I'm sure you can figure out what I did. And I got this long list of questions one day, and someone was so kind as to point out later on in my life that all the questions were foot fetish questions. And I got so embarrassed that I just deleted the whole channel. Like, the whole channel was wiped, which sucks. I was just so embarrassed. Now, of course, now something that wouldn't bother me. Like, I honestly, like, welcome the foot pervs to this channel, because you gotta respect it, man. Like, they're loud, they're proud, they're easily pleased. Like, go the fuck off. I respect the foot fetish community. Like, good shit. They just don't give a fuck. I love that. So I stayed off YouTube for a while after that, and I was going through like a really hard time in my life. For a while, you know, when I was finishing up high school, starting college, I messed around more with music. I taught myself to play the ukulele, and I was writing a lot of songs and stuff. And because, you know, like I said, I've always loved writing. So I worked on that, and fast forward to when I graduated, I spent one semester at actual college. Now, I was also on a college campus taking college classes while I was still in high school, but that's like a whole thing and a program. Don't worry about that. So basically, I technically spent like 5 semesters total at college. But one semester was like actually college. I was no longer under like my high school anyways. So yeah, I spent one semester at college, realized that this still ain't it. This is not what I want. Me and Steven got our first apartment, and from then, I told my mom that I was dropping out of school. Yeah, she wanted to beat my ass. What parent wouldn't? And I started looking into the local beauty colleges. Now, this was the dawn of, like, the makeup tutorial world, right? Like, all that had really taken off. I was starting to get more into makeup, and I'm like, you know what? This is artsy. This is creative. How about I become a makeup artist? And that's part of why I went to school for it, right? Because where I live, now there's a difference these days. Like, most people hear makeup artists and they think literally an artist that does makeup on their face, right? And then you have like the professional makeup artists where you do makeup on other people. And where I live, in order to legally do that, you have to go to school for it. You have to either be a certified cosmetologist or esthetician. You have to, you know, so that's the only reason why I went to beauty school, is because I wanted to be able to do this as a legal job. And it's a realistic and respectable career, right? Even if I'm doing like prom makeup on 16-year-olds, you know, I can do that, and that's something my family would take seriously. So maybe it's a little bit far-fetched, but it's legitimate. And then I thought, okay, if I'm doing this, I can go back to YouTube, you know, I can do tutorials, and I can do the makeup on my clients, and it'll be great. So then I started my branding of Chameleon Beauty. Chameleon was my nickname in high school. I never really mentioned that. So in my elder scene years, I went from Rarian to Chaotic Chameleon. You gotta have your scene name. People at school called me Camille. I thought that was really cute. Like, I love that. Can we bring that back? Feel free to call me Camille. So obviously none of that worked out, because you hear me all the time make jokes about how I'm a beauty school dropout. That's a story in itself. If you ever want to hear about that fucking mess, let me know. We're not gonna hit it here. So, cokeandredrum, where did that come from? So cokeandredrum was actually just my Twitter username. I came up with it when I was like 17. I don't even know if I had seen The Shining at that point. Yeah, I did. The first time I saw The Shining, I was like 12, and I hated it because it was such a long movie and I had to sit there and yeah, so I just knew red rum was backwards for murder, and I'm like, coke and rum is a drink that people order at bars. And then I just wanted like a cool new edgy username, so I came up with that, and I'm like, it's this really fun play on words because it sounds like a drink, but it also sounds like drugs and murder. I was 17. Yeah, so that's where that name came from, and ever since then I just kept it. Like, that's just what I thought it was the coolest username, and I'm like, if I don't hang on to this, somebody else is gonna get it. And somebody on Depop got it, and I'm coming for you. So fast forward a bit more, at this point, I'm in my early 20s. And, so like 20, 21, somewhere around there. I had really started to express myself with different, like, Japanese fashions. I'd been really looking into it over the past couple years. It's also, like, a known thing that, like, people who were, you know, seen, like, kind of go into, like, the Japanese fashion community, primarily Lolita for some reason. I'd like to do a whole video on that too. So yeah, I was really starting to get into that, and I finally had the confidence to, like, start, like, dressing. Now at the time, I did not know how to dress myself, so it wasn't great, but I was getting started, you know? I was starting to experiment. And at the time, Instagram was fucking poppin'. Like, it was on the up and up before they started changing all the algorithms and stuff. And so I was going to try to make it big on Instagram. So time went on, I started to get a little discouraged because it wasn't working out. And another, like, year or so went by, and I found that, like, my taste was starting to change a little bit. I was starting to follow a lot more of, like, the darker, edgier e-girl accounts. And I really like the whole, like, Lil Peep fan aesthetic, which, that's not an attack. I listen to Lil Peep, but you know what I mean. And I'm like, that's the shit right there. That is my shit. I want in on all of that. I want to be that bitch, you know? So I started working really hard on creating this whole I'm a bad bitch persona. Like, I wanted people to be, like, intimidated by me, you know? Like, very too poor-esque. I wanted that, right? But it was all totally fake, like, complete persona. You know, I'd be posing with a cigarette, with my red lipstick, like, wearing lingerie as clothes, which I still do, but in a different way. You know, posting, like, lewd pictures and, you know, that kind of thing. I'm like, okay, like, people seem to like when they post pictures of, like, their ass, so maybe I'll do that. Which, could you imagine me doing that? I mean, I guess a little. I'm not in, like, overly sexual person, so that really wasn't for me. You know, I'd be posing with, like, my fake Gucci belt, bought all these fake Louis Vuitton bags from the flea market so I could, like, try to flex on the gram. And I'm like, if I act like I'm this important, luxurious person, then people will think I'm this important, luxurious person. You know what I mean? Like, fake it till you make it, right? And although it sounds, like, more shallow at this point, like, I'm trying so hard to be this person, my goal was still the same, right? Like, I wanted to get in there and then still spread, like, my positive message and just be somebody that, you know, my fans could come and talk to. Like, if they're having a bad day, like, that's still genuinely all I fucking wanted. Like, I just wanted to be there for people. Like, I just really wanted to be a whole, like, do what you want, be inspired, live life. Like, you know, it's too short, and I want to be here for you. And then at this time, like, I've saw a lot of, like, Instagram accounts that I was following, like, people started to request that they get on YouTube, you know, because people see a picture, and over time, they want to know more about how you are as a person, you know what I mean? So people are requesting YouTube, so these people are making YouTube channels, and then off the bat they have, like, you know, thousands of subscribers, right? So I'm like, okay, this is it. If I can get people interested in me enough, then I can take another crack at YouTube, and, like, I won't be just sitting there talking to myself. Like, I'll have an actual audience. So I guess that's where it starts to sound like a little bit more vain, you know? Because this was, like, my whole thing, right? Okay, so, again, this is going to sound a little bit more vain, but I thought back to all the times where I would message or, like, respond to a story of, like, a big celebrity or influencer, and then, if this has ever happened to you, like, you ever, like, message one of them, and you don't expect them to respond at all, right? Because you're nobody. But then they do. Like, that is such a good fucking feeling. Like, holy shit, they took time out of their day to talk to me, like, that's astounding, right? That's just such a good feeling, because in that moment you have this, not a single doubt in your mind that you 100% matter, right? Like, you are a person, they know you exist, they talk to you, you're on the grid. It's crazy. Like, just those butterflies you get. I spit everywhere. So I'm sitting there thinking, like, how cool would it be if that was me? You know? Like, how cool would it be if I was that kind of person to somebody? The kind of person that I could just like say hello to them and they get those butterflies and that feeling in their stomach like, oh my god, cokeandredrum replied. She talked to me. She likes my art. She liked my new song. I just would love to give somebody that feeling, you know? And I don't know if that sounds like bad or weird, but I just that's such a good feeling. I want to share that, you know? So it's just very different to me, at least in my neurodivergent brain. It's a different thing than the desire to want to be like extremely famous and madly adored. Like, that's not it at all, right? I'm more along the lines of like being appreciated and then being able to reciprocate that appreciation, like in a very genuine way. Like, seriously, just spreading the fucking love. That's what I want to do. That's my goal. That's it. That's all I want. Nothing has changed from the time I was 13. And despite my self-deprecating jokes in all of my videos, like, I really just want to make others feel good in a way that maybe I've never felt. I need a therapist. I'm sure there's something there. So from that moment on, I became cokeandredrum. And my Instagram account absolutely went fucking nowhere. I tried everything, like literally everything. Don't mention anything else because I tried it. I did the business account. I posted at all the right times. I posted multiple times a day. I used the tags, like anything you could possibly do. I did collabs with accounts bigger than me, which they're all still good friends and fucking amazing. Love them twice. Meanwhile, I was on my third YouTube channel idea. This channel was actually... It was this channel right here. But it was in a very different place. You know, earlier I said I had that story and I deleted it. So yeah, it was here. So I decided at this point that I am a person with a lot of ideas and opinions. So I thought I would do like a commentary / story time channel, you know? And if you've been on this channel within the past year, you know I did dabble in like some of the commentary and like drama stuff. Which I've all privated them because it's like old stuff and like who gives a shit. We all know like Jeffree Star's a bad person, right? Like who cares? And that's not what I want this channel to be. Like, I want this to be a safe space where you can just laugh and have a good time. I don't want anything like upsetting or depressing anymore, you know? I'm just over it. I'm over it. But I still stand by everything I said, so don't you worry about that. Overall, with that time on my channel and this time too, I decided commentary wasn't my thing. Like, if I wanted to be a fucking news reporter, I would have just stayed in college and finished my degree, you know? Like, that's not what I want. Anyways, Instagram. So, I never stopped trying to build a platform for, like, a couple years. I tried so hard, never stopped, until I did. So, one day, I was feeling particularly nostalgic. And, at this point, it's 2019, and we had that whole, like, 29 scene, roaring 20s meme floating around, right? Remember that? And I was sitting here thinking, like, damn, I miss my scene hair. And then I started to think, like, you know, how powerful I felt at that time. And, like, I don't know. Like, this whole dark, edgy persona I was putting on at the time, like, with my whole, like, morning after chic thing I had going on my page. Like, that's a part of me in a way, but it's not, like, who I am. Like, I've always been very, I guess you could say, kind of bubbly, like, bright colors. Like, I love that. I love cute things that make me happy. And, I like the whole scene thing, because it was, like, that good mix of, like, cute and bright colors and edgy, and obviously I'm really into a lot of different, Japanese style subcultures. So, like, there's a lot of things that were kind of, you know, you could incorporate into the scene style, you know, like Hello Kitty, things like that, which is also why I think a lot of scene kids go into Japanese fashion. Anyways, not the point. So I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, like, I am a whole ass adult. I have adult money. I can do the scene thing, and not only can I do it, I can do it better than I could back in, like, 2012, you know? Like, I have the resources. I could do it way better. I could kick teenage me's ass. And so I did it. And at the time, I'd already been working at Hot Topic for a couple of years, so, like, everything was just too fucking perfect. Like, I could be, like, the scene kid, you know? So step one was the hair, and I didn't have much. My hair was like really short. It'd been through a lot. So I also wasn't about to give up my wigs. I really liked my wigs, and I'm like, has anyone ever done a scene wig? So I got on my little Google machine, and I tried to look it up, and I could not find anything anywhere. I think I found like one video maybe from like forever ago, but nobody was really doing it. Of course, now it's all over TikTok. Everybody's fucking doing it. I like to think that I possibly had a hand in that, even though that video has like 5,000 views or something. Like, maybe I had a teensy bit, because I know a lot of, I have friends with bigger platforms, and they were inspired by it, so they did it. Obviously, they got a lot more attention than what I did, but who cares? It's not about that. Like, I'm glad to see it out there. But yeah, at the time, when I did my scene wig, nobody was doing it, and I guess a lot of people, it just never occurred to them. It never occurred to me, so I'm glad I did it. So since I'm not finding anything on the internet, and I'm like, how about I do it, and then maybe I can like put up a video of it, you know? Because if I'm sitting here looking for it, odds are somebody else is going to search for it at some point, right? Like, no idea is 100% original. Like, somebody's had to have thought of this at some point, so maybe I'll throw it up there. Somebody else will find it. Maybe I can help somebody out. So I created my very first scene wig, took this picture, and posted a couple like RARXD Sing Girl tags, all in good fun. And at the time, I probably had like 400 followers or something, most of which were like friends and people I went to high school with and things like that, people I met at parties. So like, it's not like I had like this die-hard cult following. Like, I had nothing going on. So I took that picture, you know, went about my day, went to bed, woke up the next morning, and that picture had 500 likes. Which, if you have a small Instagram account and you've like ever tried to get on Instagram, that's like a fucking lot when you're nobody, you know? Like, that's like a blow up status for you, you know? So I was over the fucking moon. I was like, what? My first blow up post, like, crazy, right? That was so much. And once I started telling people, they're like, oh my god, I love your hair. And I'm like, girl, it's a wig. It's just a wig. Like, I did a wig. People fucking loved it, and they wanted a tutorial. And I'm like, okay. So I realized the scene thing was kind of working for me, and I was, you know, getting back into it. So I'm like, let me do this for a while. Like, who's to say that I can't? So I was doing it, and I was building up like a following, and I, you know, was filming my tutorial. So I made the wig tutorial, and I put it here on my channel. You know, it's the very first video on this channel. And in the meantime, my account was fucking thriving. I never would have thought, it's still weird to me, I never would have thought there would be such a prominent scene community in like the years 2019 to even now. And I was posting daily, I was getting tons of followers, and my engagement went through the roof. Like, I went from my small couple hundred followers to, I was literally like a hair away from 10K. It was like 9,989 or something, like almost there, just under my swipe up feature. And I was just, it was all over the span of just a couple months. Like, it was so quick. And I was like, whoa, I did it, you know? I did it. And I was always talking to people and collabing, and I was going on live, and the strangest experience to me was there was this one girl, and I was like on live on Instagram, and she had requested to join my video, and I'm like, okay, cool, like, I love talking to people. I have no friends in real life, so like, hell yeah. And she got on, and she just started fucking bawling her eyes out, and she's like, I never thought I'd get to talk to you, you're my idol. And I'm like, what is this? First of all, do not idolize me. I suck. No one's anything to idolize. Don't idolize anybody. You know what I mean? Anyways, what a fucking feeling, you know? Like, and not again like oh, I'm so famous, this girl is just so obsessed with me. It was like that feeling I was searching for. Like, she was so overwhelmed with excitement getting to talk to me. To me, that's insane. And it was emotional for me too. Like, I also started crying because I'm like, thank you so much for existing. Like, thank you for letting me, I'm gonna cry. Yeah. Thank you for letting me have this moment, you know? Like, this moment of pure love and joy that I never thought I would get to experience. Oh my god. I'm so emotional. I'm so sorry. Yeah, means a lot to me. Haven't heard from that girl since. I imagine she just, like, got bored and, like, moved on to something else, which is cool. Like, I am not entitled to anything and anybody's attention ever. Like, that, you know? Nobody is. But I still so appreciate that moment we got to share. More than I could ever express. So at this point, my account's growing each day. I'm working on YouTube, and it's going great, you know? I'm getting fan art, like, at least once a week, which is my absolute favorite, and it means so much. Like, the fact that somebody would take the time to, like, draw a picture of me, like, that's fucking crazy. I still have a highlight on my Instagram page of, like, all the fan art I've gotten. I don't like the word fan art just because, like, I feel like I don't deserve anyone calling themselves my fan, because again, maybe that's the wrong mindset to be in, but that's just how I feel. I feel like we're all friends. We're all friends here. It's friend art. So I'm getting so emo. So I finally have this sense of love and community that I've always wanted, that I've always strived for. And I loved replying to DMs and constantly getting to know all of my followers, like, as people. And it would start to get a bit overwhelming at times. So I totally got lost in it, and Instagram just consumed my entire life. Like, I was slacking at work because I was literally just on Instagram the whole time I was at work, got nothing done. I was obsessed with it, and not just the love and inspiration aspect. I got lost in the validation. Like, I'm constantly striving for this validation. Like, please like me, tell me you love me. So I started to notice a change in the algorithm, and, like, maybe my pictures weren't doing as well, and I'd get really bummed because, like, oh, this picture only got 1,000 likes. So fucking annoying, right? Like, who am I? So things started to slow down a little bit, and I did switch it up a little. I was still, you know, prominent in the scene community, but slowly I was getting bored, you know, because I get bored. I'm like a sponge. I absorb things, and I get inspired, and I just go with that, right? That's why my look can change so drastically overnight. So I switched it up ever so slightly, and I was just losing the interest in how I looked and how I was portraying myself, because it still felt kind of fake. Like, I'm not really this person. This is just how I look, but I don't, you know? But I still had this feeling of, like, this is it, you know? These are my people. It doesn't matter. They like me for me, right? And I don't have to pretend to be anything I'm not, because this is my community. And for the first time in my life, I truly felt accepted. I was finally somebody. So since I'm not afraid to experiment, especially when it comes to hair, makeup, fashion, and stuff, one of my absolute eras and decades for fashion was the 70s. Because you had, like, the mod look that carried over from the 60s. You had, like, the whole hippie vibe. You had punk being born, which is my favorite. That was, like, my first alternative fashion before I ever even got into scene. I was, like, a little punk kid. So the 70s, there was, like, no time or, like, set rules for fashion, you know, and I love that. And I was like, you know what? I want to try that. And as you guys can see on my channel, a couple videos back, you know, there was like one summer where I was like all 70s Farrah Fawcett hair. And I knew that wasn't going to be a permanent thing. Like, it was literally just like, let me see if I can do this. You know, I've always wanted to try it. And no, it's not for me. I thought it looked good. I had fun with it, but I didn't plan. It was literally just going to be like a cute vibe for the summer. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go back to how I was dressing before, which is very, like, kawaii, bright colors, pastels, lots of pink. Like, I feel like this is my final form. Like, this is the true me, you know? Like, this is how I look, you know? And I didn't really think anything of it, because I'm like, these people are here for me, and I don't feel like I have to explain to my platform, like, hey guys, I just like to change it up every now and then. This is what I'm doing for a while. So I just posted a picture, and I liked it. And, you know, the first one, like, got a lot of attention. People were into it. And then I posted another picture. And they were like, oh, this is weird. How did you go from this to this? Which, to be fair, you know, if I was following somebody, like, for a specific aesthetic and then they changed it, I don't know. Because I love people. I probably wouldn't personally unfollow, but I can't blame anyone that did. So at this point, people are unfollowing me by the thousands. Like, one day, I literally lost a whole ass 1,000 people within like 4 hours. Which is a little upsetting. Of course, it was a drastic change, so they're probably looking at it like, who is this? Why did I follow her? Like, how did she get here? But I still had plenty of supportive people, so, like, I'm fine, you know? Like, a lot of people were like, yes, I love how you can just change it up, because there were some people there that saw me change it up from pretty much what I'm doing now to the scene thing. You know, there were some people that just, like, get me, and they just liked me for my, I guess you can call this a personality. Yeah, so I'm fine. And then I slowly make my way back to where I am now. Like, here, my natural habitat. Where I was when I was 20, before I, like, started having an identity crisis and, like, trying to find my place. I didn't have, like, as many resources to, like, dress exactly how I wanted then. I just kind of had to go with whatever. But now, you know, I have lots of clothes, you know, so I'm doing me, finally. So, honestly, I mean, I guess my style, I still kind of do whatever. Like, I feel like to find your own personal style, you kind of experiment and, like, mash things together. That's not the point right now. That's a different video. Yeah, so ever since then, since now, the fan art stopped, the messages stopped. I have, like, 3 people that are still, like, amazing, and, like, I got a fan art recently, which literally I bawled my eyes out for, like, 3 days. I'm still gonna cry thinking about it. Ooh, yeah. So, everything stopped, and, now, I still technically, like, the number on my Instagram, the number of followers, is still, like, a fairly big number. You know, I'm still over 6,000, which to people that just have, like, a regular personal Instagram or, like, you know, less than that, they still think that's, like, oh, a really big number, you know? Because it is, you know, it is. It's not the biggest, but it's still a higher number. So on occasion I would get people like, oh, you have such a big platform, you should promote this for me, or you should say this, or you should do this, which is, like, very overwhelming to me, because I'm like, I didn't ask for this. This isn't, they're just, first of all these people are pretty much inactive. I would say that I truly, like, with people I interact with, I truly have, like, 500 followers, you know? I'm back to where I was. I considered making a new Instagram account, but, like, I mean, I have a second one. I thought about just using that, but it's hard because I look at that number and I'm like, man, that was something at some point. Like, I built that, even though they're all inactives. For a while, I got super bummed and I pretty much stopped posting altogether. I archive all my pics, I bring them back, I archive them again, I tried this. Do I want to try again? Do I use the hashtags? Should I create a feed that, like, everything matches and it all flow? What's my theme? What's my demographic? Where's my community? Where do I belong? I don't know. So while my Instagram is still currently dying, I had something happened to me that kind of gave me the boost I needed. So the other night, I got locked out of my account. I got a new phone number. I have 2-step verification set up on absolutely everything, even things that don't make sense. I have 2-step on. And that was something I did not consider when I got a new phone number. So I was locked out of my account for 24 hours. I had to get it back. Had to tell Instagram my whole life story. It was a whole thing, right? And at first, I considered, like, should I just, you know, drop it? Like, I put so much energy into it, you know, but I have this other account that I could use that is just cokeandredrum. Like, it'd be the same as my YouTube channel and my Twitch. Like, it makes sense. I'd have the same handle and everything. So I could use that. And I started to think about what my platform was at one point. Like, when I was, like, famous, you know? And I was like, you know, I'd miss this. I would miss it. Because even if I don't get thousands of likes and people are unfollowing me, I think back to that time when I was inspiring people. Like, I did get all those messages, like, oh my gosh, you made me cut my hair to this, you made me get my first wig, like, you inspired me so much. You know, I bought this shirt because I saw you wear it. Like, that, just, even if there's just one single person left there, just, like, one person within the crowd, I want them to know how much I do appreciate them and how much I do care. And, like, at the time, I had this I got to feel what it was like, you know? Like, I'm so grateful for that experience. And I feel like I'm not just a washed up has-been MySpace profile. This isn't my end. I feel like this is still the beginning of something, you know? I've learned so much about myself on this little crazy, like, 1-year journey I've had. And I feel like my channel's doing pretty well for what it is. Like, I never would have thought I would have any subscriber except for, like, my 3 in real life friends and my mom. Like, I thought I would just be here talking to myself, which is fine. I'll gladly do that. I love to do it, clearly. I never shut the fuck up. So I still have no clue what this channel is. And, every now and then I get a message from somebody that just wants to tell me how much they like my videos, or, like, they like my wig, or whatever. I don't want to give that up, you know? Even if it's not what it was, I don't want to give up that feeling. And part of what sets us back most of the time is us. It's ourselves, you know? We got to get out of this, like, I can't do this mindset. Because just go do the fucking thing, you know? Like, screw it. What's the worst that could happen? So, fuck the 10K. I don't want it. I don't need it. I want you here. Like, I just want you. That's all I want. You. Right there. Yes. You. You are all I want here. Just, let's hang out, you know? Let's build each other up. Let's just have a good time. So the truth about being an influencer is everyone is going to have these expectations of you, right? And you can't meet them all. Like, there's no way. I was so scared to, like, genuinely be myself, because I'm like, they're all gonna leave me, you know? I kept feeling like I had to put on this persona, and you know, because they're gonna leave me. Yeah, so what? Like, let them fucking leave. The ones that matter, they'll still be here. And it's not going to be as many people. Like, don't set yourself up with these high expectations just to, you know, you're setting yourself up for failure at that point. They're not flocking by the thousands. It might just be a few of your closest friends that you genuinely have support from. But pay attention to who's truly there for you. Being an influencer, it's a numbers game, yeah. But the numbers aren't important like you think. Like, you're looking at the wrong numbers, okay? You want quality over quantity. So out of 9,989 people or whatever it was, you may only have a true impact on one person, just one person, but that's a whole person. Like, that's a whole fucking human life. One whole person. That is someone that matters, and to them, you matter. So no matter what you're doing and how small and insignificant you might feel, it's going to make a difference to somebody out there, you know? That funny video you made, it made someone laugh after a hard day. The comment you left on this guy's post, telling him you like his shoes, maybe he needed to hear that. Like, he was scared to buy those shoes and wear them. He didn't know if they were still cool. I can sit here and think of hypotheticals all day, but I've been really talking for a long time already. But the point is, you're never going to please everyone. So, just do what makes you happy. Experiment, live life. Don't focus on the shit that doesn't make a difference, because you make a difference. And so does how you carry yourself. You never know how much of an influence you can truly have on somebody, and you could be exactly the inspiration that they're looking for. Not to mention, like, I know my account never got, like, so big. It's not like I was, like, hundreds of thousands or whatever. Like, I was just micro-influencer status, right? Like, I think 10K is officially when you hit micro-influencer. But I've been on both sides of it, so I know what it's like to look at this account with, like, 2,000 followers or whatever and be like, oh my god, they're so big, they have so many followers. But trust me when I tell you, do not let these accounts intimidate you, right? Like 1, 2, 10, 20,000 followers, whatever. Don't let them intimidate you, because for one, they're literally just normal people like you and me. Yeah, they do have like a platform. I can't deny that, right? But I feel like some people just, they get too big for their britches and they try to make it to be more than what it is. But I promise you, they are not too busy to reply to your DM. Like, if you want to know where they got those shoes, just ask them. Don't be scared. At least that's how I always felt, because I would get people, like, afraid. I would message them back, and they're like, oh my god, I never thought you would respond. And I'm like, why the fuck would I not? Like, I work at Best Buy 2 days a week. I have nothing else going on. I'm probably sitting there refreshing my inbox just waiting for you to send me something. Like, what? So please never be afraid to message me, because I'm seriously looking forward to it. I need human interaction. Plus, I know we're at the point where we're tired of these, like, influencer celebrity types, right? Like, the whole point and why we were drawn to YouTube is because of YouTubers. Like, they're normal people. They're real people. But now everyone's got this, like, high quality production going on. And, like, whatever happened to just, like, filming the shitty potato cam video? Like, you know, like, I always loved the channels where you felt like you were, like, close personal best friends with them. Like, you were just in their room hanging out. That's what I want. Like, every video, just feeling like we're hanging out. So that's what I want this channel to always be. Like, I never want to be anything other than, like, a regular person. Like everybody else. You know, like you. Like me. I'm a regular person. So if you came here clicking on this video and you somehow stayed till the end, because this is about to be like a 2-hour video, you know, if you were looking for advice on how to be an influencer, a YouTuber, streamer, or like, even if you were looking for a sign to like shave your head, change your wardrobe, save up for that new car, I'm here to tell you, you can do it. You can. Stop telling yourself that you can't. You matter, and I know it's going to happen for you. You just got to keep it up, be persistent, and don't lose sight of who you are. This channel could stop dead in its tracks right now. I could never get another subscriber. I could never get another view on any video. But I would still count this 100% as a success, because this is already way more than I ever would have imagined it turning out as. Like, sure, 900 something doesn't sound like a lot to a lot of people, especially in the context of we have YouTubers now with like millions and millions of subs, right? But could you imagine a whole ass 900 people walking into your bedroom and like watching you put on your makeup? Like, what? That's a lot of fucking people, right? So think about that. Plus, this is all I've ever wanted to do. Like, if nothing else, at least I can say I took a chance and I tried to do it. That's all any of us can do, is just fucking try, you know? And who knows, maybe this can all work out. Maybe this will grow into something that I just genuinely haven't even thought of or imagined. But either way, I'm gonna keep doing exactly what I'm doing now, and it's not gonna be the coolest or the most fun or the best, but I'm here, I'm doing the thing. Which is whatever I damn well please. No longer will I get wrapped up in seeking validation and worrying about what other people want me to think or feel or be or look like. Like, that's fucking stupid, you know? Like, all these shallow things like numbers and brands and whatever. I am not going to let an audience completely dictate what I do in an effort to like gain money or clout, or I just want to have a good time with friends. Like, all you guys are all my friends. Thank you for being here and being my friend. Yeah, so I thought I was just Casey and I'm nobody, and yeah, I'm working at Best Buy and I have this tiny little YouTube channel that nobody knows about or gives a shit about. But all that's fucking over. Today, I am Redrum. I am somebody, and you're somebody too. So go the fuck out there, man. Go out there, go the fuck off, and spread the love. Seriously, just spread the love. You get what you give, you know, like, manifest that shit, or whatever they say on Twitter, you know? So go spread the love, but don't forget to love yourself first. And I know it's hard sometimes, but you are somebody too. Yeah, that's right, I just said it. You are somebody. I wish I would have had somebody say that to me, but yeah. Why can I not stop fucking crying? This is so annoying. Okay, thank you so much. I know this video was so long. Shout out if you made it to the end. I hope somebody watches this. I hope somebody sits here and listens to the whole thing. It'd be really cool. But if not, I mean, it is what it is. Some people just don't like to sit here and listen to people talk. I get that. If you just came here from Instagram, Twitter, or something, you just found me randomly, thanks for being here, and you can subscribe if you want, but I'm never gonna tell you to do that because I think that shit's obnoxious. Like and subscribe. I fucking hate that. We're never gonna do that here. But I will tell you that every time you subscribe, I do a happy dance at work. Okay, I love you guys, seriously, so much. Like, you have no idea how much I love you for being here, and I am gonna go cry some more. Alright guys, have fun, be safe, look both ways before you cross the street, and go do the fucking thing.
Boy, she sure can talk, huh?
Shut up.